We've got a highlight tool already picked, and we are going to read the question stem to begin engaging the task. The argument is most vulnerable to criticism on the grounds that it blank. So whenever we see most vulnerable to criticism, that's just indicating we need to identify a flaw in the given argument. So we're going to read the paragraph on the left-hand side, identify what the conclusion is, highlight that conclusion for clear reference, and then we're going to think if we can come up with a prediction of what the flaw might be. Because if it's an in real life circumstance, we do want to challenge ourselves to come up with that prediction for more easily predictable tasks, such as identifying flaws, identifying assumptions, strengthening or weakening arguments. So, reading from the top of the paragraph, if the proposed air pollution measures were to be implemented, ozone levels in the city's air would be 1/5 lower than current levels. Since the ozone in our air is currently responsible for over $5 billion in health costs, we would spend about $1 billion less on these ozone related health costs should the proposed measures be adopted. So the word should indicates our conclusion, hopefully rather apparently. And we know that the conclusion is just this statement that we would spend about $1 billion less on these ozone related health costs should these proposed measures be implemented. And those are about the ozone levels at the beginning of the paragraph. Now, there isn't math on the LSAT. That's true. It's a statement that people say all the time. But in some instances, especially when you're talking about parts and wholes, percentages, fractions, those sorts of things, you actually do have to think critically about what the numbers at the highest of levels are saying. And in this case, we see that the proposed air pollution measures are going to lower the ozone levels 1/5. And right now, the ozone in the air is responsible for $5 billion in health costs. But then the author of this argument is saying the town would spend about $1 billion less on these health costs. Okay, I have to know that 1/5 lower is equal to $1 billion out of $5 billion. And I want to think to myself, as soon as I note those numbers being equivalent, that they don't necessarily have to be like directly proportional. Just because I lower the ozone levels by 1/5 doesn't mean that the metric of cost is going to also go down by exactly 1/5.